Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Herd and 10. I'm your host, Jake Fortinsky, joined by my co-host and brother, Kevin Fortinsky. This is a hard one. This is as tough as it gets. I feel for every Buffalo Bills fan out there. If somehow you didn't see the game and you don't know what happened, the Buffalo Bills fell to I hate to say it, the New England Patriots, 29-25. It was a stinker. It was, as my dad said, the fourth clunker that the Bills have put up this season, and there's only been 7 weeks. This has been a very interesting season. I swear, I feel like we talked about this last week, Kev. The Bills, this roller coaster that was kind of up and down is in free fall. As the title of this episode should tell you, the Buffalo Bills are collapsing. I don't believe they have collapsed, but I believe that they're in the process of collapsing. And part of that means some heads are going to roll. There has to be some changes. I'll reference my oldest brother in saying that the Buffalo Bills have a serious, serious problem with their offensive coordinator, Ken Dorsey. There is a massive problem there. The Buffalo Bills have a lot of things to figure out and not a lot of time to figure them out. And if you're a Bills fan out there and you're not concerned, I think you better be. We need to be concerned. Kev, you talked about this yesterday. That window that we talked about that's been closing, it may have closed. Right? I mean, I don't know what else to say other than that the Bills are not at all what we thought. They are a one-dimensional offense that is so heavily reliant on Josh Allen to Stephon Diggs. We talked about this last week, and we're talking about it again. There is no other players that are doing much of anything. The offensive line is like Swiss cheese, zero protection. The run game is okay, I suppose, but not particularly good. The receiving core is, I don't know if it's that they're not getting open. Is it that Josh Allen doesn't trust them, which in all fairness, he has the right to not trust them when you have Gabe Davis and Dawson Knox dropping every important pass that they need to hold on to. You have Stephon Diggs, who's playing unbelievable football, and he is being wasted. And you better believe that all that crap before the season about Diggs complaining and being a diva, he's right. Why would a guy who puts up over 100 yards a game want to stay with the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo, in the cold, on a team that looks lost? They're not coming to games prepared. The defense has not looked good, but I'll give them this. There's been injuries, and I don't think anyone expects them to be good moving forward. They are a bottom tier defense. I just didn't expect the offense to be a bottom tier offense. And maybe they're not quite that statistically, but if you watch every game from beginning to end, we know what this offense can be, and we know what this offense has been. Kev, I'll let you give some stuff here.
Yeah, I mean, the fact of the matter is they haven't come prepared to play in any of the last 3 games offensively at all. You've come out in the first half and scored a total of, I believe it's 6 points in the last 3 games. How do you come out of the gate without a touchdown in the last 3 games. To me, that speaks to the volumes about how bad the coaching's been. The coach is supposed to be prepared for the first 10, 15 plays of the game, what they're going to call plays they're confident in. They're not working. The confidence level I have in our offensive coaching has gone from amazing to 0 in the span of 3 weeks. I don't want to rant about how bad the offensive coaching is for that long, but it's destroying our season. Like you said, our defense, we can understand some of the regression. We're playing some young players who are going to have to improve as the season goes on. That's the fact of the matter. You've lost Trey White. You've lost Matt Milano. You've lost Daquan Jones. You didn't have Ed Oliver playing. You have young guys throughout this roster. You have Von Miller, played 7 snaps yesterday. Clearly, he had some sort of setback, which is concerning. And he hasn't made any contribution at all this season. We can start to talk about that signing as being a disaster. We'll see how it shakes out the rest of the year, but that could go down as one of the worst signings in Bill history. He was not helpful last year because he got hurt, and he doesn't look like he's the same player at all. So that's certainly part of the problem, but the biggest problem is we need to be able to outscore people. And scoring 6 points in 3 first halves is not going to get it done. We've come out in the second half and played well. We have 7 touchdowns in those same 3 games in the second half and 0 in the first half. Can you explain to me what our offensive coordinator is doing? He is not preparing this team to play. I think he is not allowing Josh Allen to be who he should be. You're seeing that he's not running. You're seeing a dejected Allen on the sidelines. And I'm just scratching my head as to why we haven't seen any Josh Allen runs basically the whole season, especially in the last month. He is not a pocket passer. He needs to move around. His best plays are when he gets out of the pocket and flings it downfield across his body 30 yards. His other best plays are when he's taking off right down the middle of the defense, keeping the defense honest. He needs those plays to get into the game, and our coaches are not letting him do it. You see it over and over again, and he looks depressed. He doesn't look like he's having fun. I've never seen this from Josh Allen. He needs to be engaged. They need to let him play. You're 4-3. It's not like we're ripping the league apart and, you don't want your quarterback to get hurt. We're losing games because Allen looks out of it. He doesn't look interested at all. I don't know. What do you think, Jake?
Yeah, you brought it up last week, and this term I think is the best term that we can use. He looks dejected. He looks completely and utterly dejected. This is a player to me that looks like his soul has been sucked out of him. He's not having fun, and he's not playing like Josh Allen. Yes, you look at the statistics, and he's throwing for touchdowns, and he's throwing lots of yards, and all those things look okay, but we're losing games. There's a reason we're losing games. It's because Josh Allen is not being allowed to be Josh Allen. And I want to be clear about this. I understand that we're trying to protect Josh Allen. You don't want him to get hurt, and you want him to be smart. But you don't want to take Josh Allen out of Josh Allen. The guy still needs to play his game. Just limit some of the bad decisions, limit some of the unnecessary hits that he used to take. That's perfectly fine. But basically telling him not to run anymore and to never try to throw it down the field, essentially, is just not how you're going to win games. It's clear. It could not be clearer. if we look at the last few seasons, if you wanted to make this argument that taming Josh Allen was a good thing, I think most people would agree with you. But we've now seen a fully, and I should really call him a fully neutered Josh Allen, and it's not what you want, right? It's the difference between taming him. I understand you want to control him, but if you fully neuter him, he's just not that same player. It's as simple as that. And it's super frustrating because I feel like these are things that could actually be resolved quite easily. And it starts with Ken Dorsey. Well, actually, it starts with Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane making the decision to move on from Ken Dorsey. The Ken Dorsey experiment is over. It didn't work. Yes, he was a great piece in developing Josh Allen. I give him credit for that. I'm not going to pretend like he hasn't done good things. But as an offensive coordinator, he's not good. Let's just look at where the Bills have gone since we played Kansas City in the AFC Championship game, and we should have gone to the Super Bowl. We have slowly but surely taken steps backwards. We're moving in the wrong direction. We are a 4-3 team in the AFC East. We've lost to the New York Jets. We've lost to the Jacksonville Jaguars. And now we've lost to a very, very poor New England Patriots. I look at this and I have to be realistic. I don't really believe that this Buffalo Bills team is a great team. I don't believe they're a very good team. I don't really believe they're a good team. I think at this point they're potentially passable. They're maybe slightly above average when they're playing at a normal level, but I don't think this is anywhere near a Super Bowl contender. I would argue that they're barely a playoff team. Certainly with this record, they're not going to go to the playoffs. This is a team that I'm so concerned about, and we're only at week 8. And I'm in some regards, and this doesn't happen to me very often, I am a little bit lost for words because I know what they need to do, but I don't think they're going to do it. I don't think they're going to pull the trigger and fire Ken Dorsey. And because of that, I don't think they're going to be what they need to be. Look, the defense is going to give up points. The defense is not going to be very good. But I can live with that. If Josh Allen plays the way he is supposed to play and should play, and this offense performs at the level that they should be performing at, we should win most games. But this offense is not going to run at the pace that they should be running at. Gabe Davis is going to continue to underperform. Dawson Knox is not underperforming. For anyone who's wondering, Dawson Knox is not underperforming. He's playing exactly the way he's supposed to, like a bottom tier tight end, because that is what he is. We knew this going into the year. Isn't that why we drafted Kincaid? Because we knew Knox wasn't very good. He's even worse, I think, than some thought. But that guy's not a tight end in the NFL. I mean, he's being paid like a top tier tight end, but he's certainly not. You have guys like Khalil Shakir, who actually I think have looked like they have some potential. Deontay Hardy, they've made some good plays, but it's few, far in between. And it's because Ken Dorsey doesn't know how to scheme. He's not a good offensive coordinator. It's as simple as that.
Can we talk about
I think
what has happened to Gabe Davis? I mean, basically after that Kansas City incredible game in Kansas City, we're like, oh, he's going to be a superstar. And all he's done is gotten worse and worse. We thought last year was the bottom when he was dropping balls left, right, and center. Now he's not even getting targets. I don't know what his issue is. I don't think he's getting open. I'm watching him. I don't think he's moving very well. To me, he's not getting any separation. I don't know what happened to him, but He has regressed big time from what we thought was potentially to be a superstar to an absolute nobody. I don't even know what else to say about him. He's been atrocious, invisible. We don't have a second receiver. This is a big part of our problem. Like you said, completely one-dimensional offense with just Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs. Sometimes we're mixing in James Cook. I think he looked great yesterday, but I don't think we're using him enough. And we got no secondary options. Kincaid, I thought, had a very nice game. I think we need to continue to use him more. But in terms of receivers, we only have one. And that's a massive, massive problem. If they take away Stephon Diggs, we got basically nothing left. So it's very, very disappointing. This season has devolved to this, but it's certainly hard to accept. But we don't look even close to being a Super Bowl contender. Jake, you think we're having some technical difficulties?
We have to move forward. We have to understand that this is not the team that we thought they were, and this is what it is moving forward. And I think this is one of those things where there's a pretty good chance we're not going to salvage this season. But look, we have Josh Allen. It's the one thing I can say to everyone. We do have Josh Allen. And as long as we have Josh Allen, there's always potential. I just don't feel like this is the year because of some of the coaching issues and because, of course, the injuries on defense certainly does not help. I think someone had commented on this earlier, just mentioning the defense is depleted with injuries or plagued with injuries, and you have Von Miller who's not quite up to snuff. Even if all those things went away, our offense it's not what it needs to be to really compete in a offensive league, in a quarterback league where you need to be playing at your highest potential on offense. I want to take a moment to talk a little bit, because I do think it's important to talk a little bit about this revamped offensive line that we had very high hopes for. Because the Bills' offensive line was not good last year. It struggled both in pass protection and in the run game. And we thought that this new revamped offensive line was going to be so much better, and they started out pretty good this season. Things were looking good. Things were looking better, but they seem to have fallen apart. And again, I know some people who are listening are going to say, well, you can't just blame one guy, but I think you can. I think you can just blame Ken Dorsey for this. I really don't think there's anyone else to blame. I mean, yes, there's been some execution issues, right? You mentioned it. Gabe Davis isn't running his routes particularly well. Dawson Knox, of course, has had a lot of really bad drops. I would argue that he kind of cost us 2 games. But again, it all lands on the coaching. At the end of the day, they're the easiest people to fire. They're the easiest people to blame. And in this scenario, all the fingers to me are pointing in the one direction, and that's directly at Ken Dorsey, who essentially, as soon as he stepped in, this offense has gotten progressively worse. Since he has taken over, our offense has gotten worse. It's become more and more reliant on Diggs. And then on top of that, he's taken away Josh Allen's ability to run, which was at least the other dimension that we had, and he's taken it away. So not only has he said, we're not going to scheme for any receivers but Stephon Diggs, and we're not even going to scheme for Stephon Diggs. He's just that good. He's going to find ways to get open. We're then going to take away the run game. We're going to tell Josh he can't run, and he has to hand it off. And we don't care if there's 10 yards open. He's not allowed to run. And then this is what you end up with. You end up with a 4-3 team who's lost to 3 bad teams and should have lost a 4th, but luckily squeaked out a win against the Giants. We are not even deserving of a 4-3 record. And I'm so in shock because I never thought I'd have to talk about the Bills in this way. I thought maybe this would happen like at the end of the season.
Yeah, it's really frustrating. You can just watch our offense and they don't pass the eye test. You're watching this offense and you're just thinking, this is an easy offense to stop. They don't do anything interesting. I watch teams like San Francisco, Miami, Kansas City, and they're fun to watch. They're doing different things. They're having all kinds of motion. You never know what's going on. They're subbing guys in and out. They're doing the unexpected. And that is what we did under Daboll. We didn't always like Daboll, but we can't say he was electric in terms of his play calling. He always had tricks up his sleeve. He did, he was doing reverses. He would scheme guys open. Dorsey is not scheming guys open. He is relying on Josh Allen being perfect with his ball placement and just sitting in the pocket and just waiting for guys, hoping for guys to get open. He is not scheming plays to win football games. I watch other teams. I watch a lot of football. And I don't feel like we have coaching that's up to par with the other top offenses in the league. It's as simple as that. To me, it's easy. Get rid of him. You can see our offense is disjointed. We have no identity. All we do is basically dump it down on every play. And it's boring and tough to watch.
Yeah, that's a big thing to note. Forget about whether they're winning, whether they're losing, how Josh Allen's feeling, how Sean McDermott's feeling, how Stephon Diggs is feeling. Forget about all that for a moment. What is the purpose of the NFL? Entertainment. And the Bills are not entertaining. I have had seasons where the Bills were not very good and they lost a lot of games, but they were entertaining. And you could see they were playing at their best. They weren't a good team, but they were playing to their full potential. This is a team that is playing nowhere near its full potential, and they're doing it in a sluggish, boring, slow, and it's not what you would expect out of a team with an electric player like Josh Allen. It's shocking. Like, in terms of just entertainment, this is a hard team to watch, whether you're a fan or not. I remember last year, the year before, the year prior to that, I had people coming up to me who were not Bills fans saying, wow, I can't wait till they start going to the playoffs. I can't wait till they start winning a lot of games. Because regardless of anything, people wanted to see them in prime time because they were exciting. This is not an exciting team. Win or lose, they are not an exciting team to watch. They are boring and they are predictable. You know when they're running. You know when they're throwing. You almost always know who they're throwing to. And you mentioned this, and I wish we had the stats in front of us. In terms of pre-snap motion, they have to be near the bottom of the league. I'd be very surprised if they're not like middle to bottom. Like you, I watch a ton of football, and all the top tier teams have a lot of pre-snap motion. And we have speed. Stephon Diggs is a fast receiver. Khalil Shakir is a fast receiver. Deontay Hardy's a fast receiver. James Cook is a fast running back. We have plenty of use that, we don't have pre-snap motions because we don't need it, because we have good route runners who don't have a lot of speed. It's not the case. That's not at all what we are. And you can't make the argument, well, we're trying to simplify the offense because we have a young quarterback who doesn't understand it. Can't make that argument. Josh Allen's been in this system for a very long time. He understands this system probably better than any quarterback understands their system in the entire NFL. So none of those excuses can be used, and it's a shame because I wish we had an excuse, but we don't. All we have is a bad offensive coordinator who's beat down our quarterback to a pulp. That is what I will say. Now, we'll spend a couple minutes now talking about the upcoming game. Honestly, I don't have a lot to say about it. I think we're going to struggle. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are no slouch. They're a decent team. Baker Mayfield has looked solid. Their defense has looked solid. They have a solid running game. They have very good receivers, and we have very bad cornerbacks. This is not a good matchup for the Bills on a short week. This is a very, very difficult matchup. I don't know. I'm not sure if they're going to win this game. It's fine because going to this season, I thought this was marked as like almost a guaranteed win. Now looking at this, I don't know. Is there a spread yet, Kev, for this? I'm going to take a look at the spread.
Yeah, the spread's 7.5 in the Bills' favor, which is a lot.
Whoa. That is shocking.
Tampa didn't have a very good game last week against Atlanta.
Oh, it's a 9-point spread right now.
9 points. Okay.
I
think it started at 7.5, but Tampa has looked worse and worse as the season has gone on.
True.
But so have we. So, I mean, something's got to give, right? I mean, I'm hoping we're going to get back on track, but the same as last week, we have to start on time. We cannot wait until the second half to start scoring because we're going to lose. If we do that again, we're going to lose again. We have to start this game from the opening whistle. To me, what is going to show me if we're going to win this game is if we come out and score a touchdown on the first drive. That will show me that we're back and we're interested in winning games. If we come out again like we did this last game, throw an interception, go 3 and out, or even get a couple first downs and then punt, that to me is, the Bills trending in the wrong direction. How many years in a row have we seen where the Bills would come out and score touchdowns immediately? That is the sign of a good offense. And the Bills just have not been one for huge stretches of this season. This team needs to allow Josh Allen to play his game. Let him loose. That is the only hope for this team. Our defense is not very good. It's not where it was before when we had all those players. We have to win offensively. And if that means throwing the ball down the field 10, 15, 20 times a game, then that's what they have to do. Let Josh Allen be Josh Allen. Bring fun back to this team, and maybe we have a chance.
Yeah, I like it. That's what you have to do. Let him loose. Let him loose. Let him do whatever he wants. You got another chance to change the narrative in a nationally televised game, prime time, and you're at home. Look, I think it's going to be close, but I cross my fingers and hope it won't be, and I hope we crush them. So I'm going to give 2 different predictions. I'm going to give my truly realistic prediction, and I'm going to give my prediction. (17-13). My hopeful prediction, the Bills win 31-21.
Yeah, it's interesting that you're.
I want to see.
Sorry, you're just cutting out there, but yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'm hopeful right now. I don't think our defense is very good, so I think we're going to need to score a lot of points to win. So I'm going to go with 31-23. I think we're going to get a couple touchdowns in the first half. And we're going to right the ship with a win. Not a blowout, but a decisive win at 31-23.
Well, there you have it. We both still think the Bills are going to win. That's how you know we're Buffalo Bills fans, because we can shit on the team and we still predict that they're going to win. I really hope things can turn. I'm just, for me to believe in this team, I think a lot of things have to change. I need to see a completely revamped offense. And until I see that, I'm going to have a lot of skepticism going into each game. But as always, we end on a positive note. Go Bills.
Bills.